Oh, the Christmas outside is Christmas. What's good, Christmas Pud? You are tuned into Radio 109. Thew, The Grind. And today we're doing one of those episodes that I just had to do for myself, for my soul, which we're also going to call the Christmas episode, because it's Christmas time, and that's what I've got for you. Look, it's better than socks. So seeing as it seems to be the season of Thew holding two of the same guy, strap in for a Blaster versus Blaster festive face-off that I'm going to call Blast Christmas. Superstar DJs, here we go. Yes, indeed, Autobot Dex Pistol Blaster has always kind of been two things. From his fictional twin duties as both the Marvel Comics hardcore commando and the chill cartoon hype man who dances through life and has been known to end his sentences with ow, to his similarly curious double life as a toy. Because while Blaster does have an identity of his own, his presence is most often defined by his much more popular arch-rival Soundwave, to whom he's unfortunately bonded for life by virtue of their antiquated audio alt modes. So whenever there's a halfway decent modern take on Soundwave, Blaster usually follows as the stock easy repaint, and although he's been bombarded with a bonanza of potential replacement alt modes, nothing's ever really seemed to stick. Time today then for a twofold tasting sesh of the two flavors of Blaster, with the latest, hottest, truest to himselfest jam, and one of the awkward compromisey ones from the weird years. This is Transformers Legacy Blaster and Universe 2.0 Classic Series Blaster. Look out, and indeed, shout. Now, in a video like this, we would usually start at the beginning with G1, but honestly, I've never been terribly arsed about Blaster's original egregiously enormous toy, Egrogimus. It looks dumb to me, and it's one of the rare occasions where I really actually do mind about scale, because it's friggin' mega, looming over all his pals like a skyscraper of dork, and it makes a mockery of his conflict with Soundwave. Like, that's your problem? This pipsqueak? Come on. It'd be like if I was beefing with next door's Pomeranian. So we're gonna forget that thing and instead establish our Blaster baseline with Legacy. Now this funky fresh rabbit first showed up in 2021's Transformers Kingdom, and it probably represents what the bulk of collectors would say Blaster should be. Staying true to the original design at an appropriate Voyager size and serving the needs of the many and the needs of the few. This is quality, baby. Just a clean, crisp and classical cube man, waltzing straight to number one with stunning simplicity and the ease of the 80s. All quadrilaterals all the time, aesthetically elevated with divine detail and his signature exceptionally pleasing colour layout, led by a hefty steady red, grounded by the grey and black low-light legs, and naturally drawing your eye straight to that stunning yellow tape deck door, popping like a sunrise with the awesome auto badge and slick slanty window. Head's giving gorgeous face up there with a stern and solid lip and eyes as blue as Monday, like he popped right off the screen. Specifically the screen though, because this is explicitly the animation edition and not the nose-guarded Marvel mush, but like, duh, it's clearly the stronger look. Anyway, legs are jacked like a Marshall stack, rocking the calf muscle control panels and the mid-shin speaker cones. Arms are just a pair of extremely normal robot arms, ready to smash the play button with that tickly finger and make eject. Eject. That's eject, right? You'll want to talk about the Frenzy and Rumble mix-up. At least they never actually switched colours on screen during the same shot, but I'm told this is eject. And boy, he sure does. What a star this lad is. Just a cheeky bonus nice guy Rumble with better arms. Spoiling us rotten in this chic crystal blue number. He didn't have to be made of light piping, but aren't you glad he is? Light piping. This is a remarkably good pack-in pal. Rocking impressive pose power for a pocket-sized prints and shockingly intricate detail. Check out his little ice-cold abs there, I love it. Hands are perhaps a touch clumsy and difficult to make out, but the arm-mounted tape holes make perfect 5mm ports for easy undersized lols. Oh, he's small and yet the gun is big. But yeah, wonderful. It's pretty amazing that to this day the tape deck gimmick stays winning. It's still good. It is a minor shame that it doesn't quite work with the original microcassettes. He's just slightly too small, but it's chill. Like, we're already so in the thrall of G1 here. We don't have to actually make out with it. Blaster! Blaster! Generation's a smooth and familiar middle eight that introduces some new yet accessible dance moves and drops us right at the big crowd-pleasing chorus that is this radio mode. Now, for those of you out there whose knees don't hurt yet, this is a stereo. A boom box, we used to call these. A ghetto blaster. Oh, that's why he's called that. Which is a thing from the 80s that we don't have anymore, like Betamax or the Yangtze River Dolphin. Definitely an unusual one for an Autobot, because the micro-change gadget formers were usually a Decepticon thing, but I do love that the Autobots just got a couple and made them their biggest nerd and dopest Chad. It is inevitably very Soundwave adjacent, but here's the difference. Soundwave is a cassette recorder. Blaster is a friggin' stereo, baby. It's all about the party. It's got these big gobbly volume knobs, convenient semi-folding user-friendly handle, and hefty bass-boosted speakers. This thing is bringing the beats. It makes a sweet prop, but honestly a fairly middling toy in that it can't really do much. It's got the tape deck active there, but there'd be riots if it didn't. Eject's on the scene as a little rectangle, bit of automatic weapon storage, and that's it. But it feels pretty mighty, it looks amazing, and crucially, it's the thing he turned into in G1. It is very funny to me that they've given Blaster all these hand-me-down flight modes and battle wagons, and still inevitably circled back to the inanimate object that can't do anything on its own. Like, this is very little actual use to the Autobots, right? It can't move on its own, it's got no real agency, it's just a thingy. But forget logic, right? Sod utility, we want the thing from the 80s! It's just so willfully, defiantly nostalgia-driven, outdated on purpose, and doesn't make any sense in the 2020s for any reason other than pandering to old heads like me.
What even is a cassette anyway?
And the worst part is, it's worked. I love it. This really is the most gorgeous version of the Blaster design. It solves the G1 oversize problem. This thing looks banging on the shelf, works a treat with the team. It can chill with Perceptor and Trax, scrap with Soundwave, and keep it old school with the modern day minibots. And like, isn't that enough? I think the only drawback is it's not especially interesting. It's just good. Oh no. Like, it's not an interpretation. There's very little creative license or artistic flourish on the go here, but there patently doesn't need to be. It's just a nice toy. It looks nice. It looks right. Pose is great, does the thing, it's got the right gun, and that's it. It hits every mark with textbook efficiency and stops precisely on the goal line. Legacy Blaster is perfect almost to the point of banality. And that's fine. I really like this toy. It does nothing more than exactly what I want. And how is that a problem? Like, would you rather it was good but boring or interesting but shite? Because we've got both. Yes, darlings, time for a dip into the shady underworld of Despo Beggy repaints with this notorious non sequitur from one of my personal collecting floodgate moments, Universe 2008. God, I loved Universe at the time. It landed for me at exactly the right moment. I was pretty fresh to collect in, it had all new toys of loads of characters I really wanted, but there was a huge chunk of Universe that was almost a parallel bonus line of supplemental TF Cybertron repaints. Heavy Load, Overload, Drop Load, Blades Load, most of which slid pretty smoothly into Universe's G1 but modern vibe. And then there was Blaster, who stuck out like elephant ears. This is such a freaky toy for that character, because it's obviously reworked from Cybertron Soundwave, isn't it? And he was an unearthly on-purpose alien robot freak from the planet of the Jaggedy Bastards. This does not translate to an Autobot, especially not likable party boy Blaster. This thing's terrifying. None of this looks friendly. It's borderline body horror. Like, the uncanny obtuseness of it, the skinny, sharp limbs, all angles and edges. It's like if a capital V came to life and pulled a knife on you. It's so serrated, it looks like you'd cut yourself on his voice. So we'd better break it down, because God knows it barely makes sense as a whole. The chest, for example, is awesome. It's clearly the centerpiece and the heart and soul of the whole show. A pleasant pop of nutritious yellow streaked with silver and see-through blue. Is that a Bayverse Autobot badge? It's the size of the eyes, man. It just doesn't sit right. But like, the Tum's inviting energy is automatically counteracted by the horrid spooky alien face. If you can call that a face. It's all mouthplate and visor and a weird puffy helmet. Top tier light piping though. I mean, leg baby. Legs are some dynamic dommy mommy thigh highs, imported straight from some thorny insect creature, like the queen of the mantis people. And the arms are pretty normal, if we disregard the hideous hunks of alt mode crap dangling disrespectfully off his wrists. Well, I don't know if this shield thing's supposed to come off, but certainly doesn't stop it. And what is the right arm holding? What is that, like an apostrophe? Put it down, mate. But blatantly, Blaster's entire form is utterly overshadowed by this shoulder chevron. Look at this mess. It practically doubles his height. I mean, I don't hate it. There is plenty of decent detail on there. It's giving Space Godzilla. It's a striking and interesting choice, but God, it's a lot. So, taken piecemeal, there's nothing here that I would say sucks, but the overall effect is upsetting. The whole thing's such an obvious cheat build, like a living mock-up they forgot to finalize. All the robot chunks are just sellotaped onto this nasty plastic drip tray, with further unsightly crap dangling off the limbs, to the point that you can barely make the guy out. My eye is aware that there's a robot in there, but my mind can barely assemble it. So there's really nothing else for it but to clutter it up even more with some accessories. Now, I actually really respect the approach here. Like, all his gear, aside from the planet key, transforms from these intriguing uniform polygonal prisms with copious translucencies. Like, we got this odd three-fingered electro phaser thingy, which I can practically see the lightning converging between the prongs, and the other one is a gun. These are cool, man. I don't know what they're supposed to be disguised as, but they're a nice translation of the G1 microchange battery gimmick into Cybertron logic, and I love so much that two of them are guns and one's a minicon. So yes, the third hexabrick unravels into Blaster's minicon mate, Blockrock, who's a pretty passable laserbeak-alike, packing a ton of charm in those honeycomb VTOL wings. I love the feel and shape of this thing, and the way the angles form feathers and feet and a little tail, like a puzzle cube or one of those D&D non-transformer transforming dice things. Bit boring on the colours, perhaps. It is a touch difficult to distinguish that Blockrock in beak, but there's something pretty special about this winged Wazzock. I think this is the only toy of Blockrock. They're not a G1 carryover, and they've certainly never shown up since, which kind of makes them feel like a lost media cassetticon. And you gotta wonder if it's called Blockrock because it turns into some kind of block, or possibly rock, or if Blockrock and Blaster are just both named after different kinds of beats. And check it out, he's got a weird amount of ports for a child of the aughties. Shoulder port, arm port, back port, but it's the wing ports that really bring it home. It's like it was made for Siege 10 years before Siege. So as a robot, Universe Blaster is such a weird one. It barely works as the guy it is and the line it's in. Classics 2.0 indeed. It might as well be from a different franchise. I think this was the first time a Soundwave toy was reused as Blaster, and it really shows. Like, Cybertron Soundwave was a departure, but it was still recognizably him. Right away you had the colors, the distinctive head design, the chest plate, the shoulder cannon. Even the sternest Cybertron cynic would probably give it a pass. But as Blaster, it's so far removed, I don't even know if we could make a comparison. Like, do I need to walk you through this? This one looks like Blaster, this one looks like Satan's Moon Cup, and I kinda love it. Transformation's a bit of a pain in the fucking ass. It's predictably dominated by the giant backpack, Kel Surprise. You just kind of unhook everything and awkwardly rewrap it in a different order, and then just smush it all around till it clicks. Wretched. And the alt mode is a classic Soundwave post-G1 skinny wingy whatever thingy. I guess it's nominally some kind of super stylized stealth fighter made out of triangles and bullshit. It really is comical how this thing's formed and how little the robot parts matter. Like, you got the whole brazenly visible hips and chest chunk just sort of acting as ballast, with like the legs just draped awkwardly across it. But most of the actual form and face of the thing is just the kibble. Like, the cockpit's formed from the shield, the nose cone is that big hideous wedge of garbage, garb wedge, and the actual arms that they dangle off are just crammed in the middle. The wings and the whole shape of it are just backpack. What I mean is the robot bits of the robot are so secondary to the spaceship mode, and vice versa. It might as well be two different toys. Everything on each mode doesn't matter to the other mode. It's so bad. But it is, at least, kind of fun. Like, I do love how the hexagonal prism things slot in under the wings. Took me ages to get him in there right. Love the token trundly wheels. You got the tape deck underneath, doubling as a bomb bay. Oh no, poor Blockrock. And I'm really not sure what that underside port's actually for. Maybe it combines with something. I'm sure I'll hear all about it in the comments. But I gotta believe it's for a flight stand. And the boosters back here work a treat with current year blast effects. Look at that. Love when a toy de facto updates itself. So I don't know if anything I've said's been in this toy's favor. It's not good, but isn't it though? I admire that it has the sheer bold-face audacity to stand among Universe 08 like it belongs there. I love the dissonance of the nakedly bad guy design grafted onto the character of the nicest guy who ever lived. Part of me longs for the janky cam 240p era that this reminds me of. I even dig the nifty planet key that I kind of want to get a tattoo of. I like the new one too. It's clearly superior in lots of ways, but this is the one that gets me here. Sometimes we appreciate a visit from the ghost of Christmas Blast. If anything, just as a reminder that while ostensible perfection can be achieved, only you can say what really makes you happy. So until next time, have a wonderful Christmas. Please do love the ones you're with, appreciate what you've got while you've got it, and most importantly, let's get blasted. Happy holidays! Way! This is water, that doesn't really work. Oh boy, oh boy. Happy Christmas, baby. Thank you so much for joining me for this wonderful festive thing that I done. How do you feel about the lights? Is that a bit better? I know it was gloomy last time. Is this an improvement? I don't know. So thank you everybody for a wonderful year, but thank you so much for continuing to watch my little show. Thank you to everybody who supports me financially, spiritually, and, you know, with clapping and likes. That's also good. Big love to Chris C, who sent me his one of this. This isn't the first one I had. I actually got rid of it because I decided I was over it, but then Chris sent me another one and I love it again. Whee! And a huge random patron shout out to Nemesis Slime. Ooh, that bad goop. Means a lot, dude. Thank you so much. Right, I'm off for an eggnog. See ya!
Be sure to subscribe for more Thew's awesome Transformers reviews. Limited appeal, keeping it real.